If you've been online within the last year or two, you might have seen an increase in environmental movements, such as the slow fashion movement or the Fridays for Future movement. All of these movements, in some way or another, are related to climate change and environmental sustainability. In September of 2019, over 200,000 youth all across Vancouver and the Lower Mainland participated in the global climate strike. This was part of the Global Week for Future. These strikes were protests demanding for governments to address climate change. While it's pretty inspiring, it got me thinking about other ways to get involved. Sustainable living. Let's see here. Hey, Alan.
Hey, Jin. That hurt.
Oh, you went to the climate strike in September, right? How was it?
Yeah, I did. It was pretty cool. There were a lot of people, and everyone was really passionate.
Sounds like it was a good experience.
What's sustainable living? I heard you talking about it before I fell through the ceiling.
Well, according to greenmatters.com, sustainable living is a lifestyle that aims to reduce one's environmental impact in ways that are both sustainable for the earth and for the person.
Then what should we do if we want to live sustainably?
Well, everyone knows about the reduce, reuse, and recycle model, and that's a great starting point. But there are a lot of other things that we can get involved in if we want to live sustainably. There's a lot to learn about when it comes to sustainability, so let's first take a look at the environmental impact of some industries and what they're doing. Have you ever thought about the production process behind your favorite snack or meal? Because I sure haven't. Turns out, the way that we produce food is much more complicated than some of us know it to be. Quite frankly, a lot of us are distanced from the production process and we don't know too much about it. But that doesn't mean that we can't learn about it now. One of the more popular methods of sustainable agriculture is aquaponics, which is a combination of aquaculture and hydroponics. Essentially, you can grow fish and plants together in the same system, and it's pretty cool. But what is aquaculture and hydroponics, and how does aquaponics work? Aquaculture, according to the Canadian Aquaculture Industry Alliance, is the farming of aquatic organisms like fish, mollusks, crustaceans, and aquatic plants. On the other hand, hydroponics is the cultivation of plants in nutrient-enriched water, with or without the mechanical support of an inert medium such as sand or gravel. Essentially, what that means is growing plants directly in water without any other medium for their roots to grow in. So, what exactly does an aquaponic system look like, if it's combining both aquaculture and hydroponics? There is more than one way to set up an aquaponic system, and it really depends on what you want to get out of it. These setups can range from one-container kitchen setups to grow a few herbs, to huge industrial systems that are capable of growing enough to feed a small town. The one that I've had the chance to work with looks like this. Chemically, how this aquaponic system works depends heavily on the nitrogen cycle. When fish breathe, they produce ammonia. If the ammonia concentration in the water is too high, the fish can die. This issue can be solved by a type of bacteria that is found in the air. The bacteria, which forms the biofilm, takes in the ammonia and in return gives off nitrite and nitrate. Plants require these two chemical compounds to grow, and they will take up these from the water using their roots. Aquaponics essentially allows fish waste to be transformed into nutrients for the plants, while also filtering the water and making it suitable for the fish. So, how does aquaponics compare with aquaculture and hydroponics, or even normal farming? Aquaculture produces a lot of fish, but also produces a lot of fish waste that can end up polluting the ocean. This waste often needs to be chemically or physically removed, which can further damage the environment. Hydroponics, while efficient, requires chemical solutions to replace and maintain pH and nutrient levels in the water the plants grow in. These chemicals are often toxic and very difficult to dispose of. The genius of aquaponics is that it combines the benefits of both aquaculture and hydroponics, while also largely negating the use of chemicals to maintain the health of the system. In traditional farming, up to 90% of the water that is used to water crops ends up evaporating, is contaminated by fertilizers and pesticides, or is drained and returned to the water table below the surface of the earth. On the other hand, in an aquaponics system, only up to 10% of the water is evaporated. Water can be conserved, and circulated back throughout the system. All in all, aquaponics is still a revolutionary, eco-friendlier method to growing and supplying food. We often don't hear about the environmental impacts of the clothing we wear and see only the price tag and the design. Consider your closet and what you're wearing. Do you know what material makes up the majority of your clothing? The world's most popular fabrics are cotton and polyester, both of which have significant environmental impacts. Cotton is the world's thirstiest crop and is often treated with pesticides that are capable of poisoning water supplies. It can take up to 2,700 liters of water to produce a single cotton t-shirt. Polyester is a petrol-based fabric and is a form of plastic. It's also really cheap. Washing these fabrics, though, can release plastic microfibers into the water supply, which will eventually reach the ocean where it can damage marine life. But cotton and polyester aren't the only materials that are used in our clothing. There's natural fabrics like cotton, wool, silk, linen, hemp, and tencel. There's also synthetic fabrics like polyester, lycra, viscose, nylon, and acrylic. One of the best steps to take as consumers is to be conscious of the purchases that we make, and to buy items of clothing when we only really need to. Choose to consider the amount of times you will use or wear an item before you purchase it, whether it be clothing or even something else. So we've taken a look at how two industries impact the environment, but how can we make a difference in our everyday lives? Well, you can start with components of your everyday life. In your mind, walk yourself through what a typical day in your life looks like. Do you use a lot of items that have a lot of packaging? Consider switching to something with less packaging or packaging that is compostable. Do you use plastic utensils when you're eating lunch? Consider bringing reusable utensils, even if it seems like a hassle at first. Do you use a lot of single-use items, like paper cups or takeout containers? Consider bringing your own reusable ones. Need to get somewhere? Can you bike or walk or even carpool instead of driving by yourself? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Decide what items you can reduce the use or purchase of. Find creative ways to reuse items that you already own instead of buying new ones. Research and see if you can find places to recycle items you would otherwise chuck in the trash. Remember, a sustainable lifestyle is sustainable for the earth and yourself. If you're interested in learning more, I have linked some resources in the description box below. Thanks for watching!